everybody, and welcome to the Talks a Lot Boys. I'm your host. My name is Tyler, and as always, I'm joined by the boys. We've got Brennan.
What's going on, folks?
And we've got Kyle.
Hello.
Today is a very, very good day. Or should I say last Friday, as of the time of this recording, was a very good day. Because we were finally given the brand new Covet album. If you know anything about me, you know that Yvette Young is one of my favorite artists on the planet. And anything that she is attached to, I think, is just immaculate. And all of Covet's previous stuff, I would say, is immaculate. And I would say this is a perfect continuation of that. This might be my favorite Covet music of all time, actually. This is a very, very tasty album, in my opinion. And I hope I'm not alone in thinking that. But I have not talked to you boys about this album yet. So I would like to hear your thoughts before we get into the song ranking. So, Brennan, what did you think about Catharsis by Covet?
I thought it was incredibly tasty. Some songs, funnily enough, gave me like a Smashing Pumpkins vibe.
What?
Yeah, like, and we'll get into it, but one song in particular, just like how the guitars like recorded and like the guitar tone. For some reason, I just got mad like Smashing Pumpkins vibes. It was crazy.
Okay.
Interesting.
I kind of see what you're saying now.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I remember my dad used to play a lot of Smashing Pumpkins. He had like their greatest hits and used to jam that shit a lot as a child. But man, other than that, this record incredibly tasty. Does kind of go some places. It's a little unpredictable, which I like. I think I've listened to a decent amount of Covet stuff. I think this is pretty banging record to have in your discography. I dug it. I think it's good.
Fuck yeah. Kyle, what do you think about this record? Did you hear the Smashing Pumpkins also?
No, but I kind of get it when he started talking about like the guitars, and I mean, actually, it's a big note I had for the whole album is I love how much they lean into like these distortion-y effects throughout the whole thing. Especially like a lot of songs will like start very like light and plucky, and as the song goes on, the distortion kind of creeps in, and they like not only creeps in, but do they like implement it in a really cool musical way that it like evolves the song. Yeah, like because like some bands you'll hear do these distortion-y things, and it just is there to be there to make the song like thicker at times. And this band like uses it really in a really smart way in a lot of songs. It's really cool. But overall, I just think this album's incredible. It's immaculate almost. I love Covet. I loved a lot of their last albums. And this one is feels very different in a way, but also, you know, still kind of holds true to like what they've done in the past. I love the leaning into distortion. I think the comment you made, Brennan, about it being really unpredictable is really true, because there's just moments like not, it doesn't even have to be like that the whole song is unpredictable. It could be like the main riff has just like a moment where like a key changes up a way, and it's just like, whoa, and it's just like really fun, and I like it. Also, something, because you have the album cover as your background, Brennan, and I just wanted to show, I don't know if Spotify does this at all, but Apple Music has like these like moving album things. I don't know if this will at all.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It moves, and like it like goes back behind the clouds. You can't see it incredibly well, but like yeah, like a ton of albums on Apple Music have these like cool animations and shit, and I love it. I love it so much. And I already like the art. It's just also a cool thing that is added in there. Maybe I'll start doing that with every album that has that, because I don't think Spotify has anything like that. So, but anyways, I love the album art cover. I love all their album art they've done, but this one's just really cool. But in general, love the album. Really pumped to talk about it.
Fuck yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I will say, spoiler alert, as of right now, in this moment in time, front runner for album of the year for me personally.
That is fair.
This album touched my soul and my penis in a lot of ways, and I'm very excited to break it down and talk about it. So let's do that. We're going to do what we always do here on the show. We're going to break down every single song on this record from worst to first. I feel like this is going to be a tough one today. There's only 8 songs, and they're all banging. So prepared for some violence. But I'm going to list off everything in the order it appears, and then we're going to get right into it. Track number 1 is Coronal? I don't know how to say it.
Coronel.
Colonel.
Colonel.
The correct spelling of Colonel. Track number 2 is Firebird. Track number 3 is Bronco. Track number 4 is Vanquish. Track number 5 is Interlude. Track number 6 is Smolder. Track number 7 is Merlin. Track number 8 is Love Spell. Fellas, I know we always default the interlude to the bottom. I'm going to say today, I don't want that to happen.
That's crazy.
Interlude was sexual.
Yep.
Yeah. Sexual in like a biblical way.
Yeah.
Like the sex wasn't like out of I want to fuck you. It was sort of like I was fucked by
Arranged?
light.
Oh.
It was like it was beautiful. is what I'm trying to say. It was a beautiful song.
Okay.
Yeah, instead of just having sex, it's like making genuine love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like exactly. It's
right
like you're
way to
making
say it,
love
yeah.
with a flock of birds, much like the picture. I just
I'm also
liked
down
it.
for this.
Some of you may not know this. One of my favorite EPs of all time, weirdly enough, is a piano EP that was written by Yvette Young, called
Surprisingly,
Piano
it
EP.
slaps.
And the interlude was just more of that. So I wept and came, and it was a delightful time. And interlude can't be at the bottom, even though it breaks our rules. It's
also-
so beautiful.
It's also like the length of a normal song, which
Yeah.
also helps the case here. Because I mean, like a lot of the tracks on this album are longer. I mean, it's an 8-track album that hits 30 minutes. So you know, they all kind of give you the whole business, if you will.
Yeah, for
versus
sure.
some other albums where like they could be 12 or more songs long, and some of them are like a minute if it's an interlude, you know. So
Yeah.
I think that this one is like incredibly fully developed. I have like thick notes on interlude specifically, and I'm very okay with it not being last because I, in similar fashion, splooged and wooged, if you know what I'm saying. That was so bad. All right, yeah. So what do you want to put at the bottom instead, Tyler? Do you have anything else that you'd rather
I
put
have
there?
no ideas.
Oh, okay, cool.
I just wanted to let it be known that I don't want it to be interlude. But if either of you have any suggestions for something to throw out at the bottom, I'm all ears. It's tough.
It really, I mean, this literally, like, we are starting off difficult. There's no like
Yeah.
weeding out the little guys.
Uh,
This album does not miss at all.
There
It's very
is
true.
one song that I kind of have a gripe with.
Okay.
And it sucks because like the rest of the song is really good, but I'm not a fan of how Smolder ends. Like,
Okay.
it's literally like I'm trying to like play it now. Like, it's literally about 20 seconds of like the sludgiest fucking thing, and it just kind of like tapers off from there.
That
I
is
guess
fair.
I can kind of see that.
I think if like we're really like going into this objectively, I mean the song is called Smolder, so the
Yeah.
ending of it like kind of smoldering out in distortion is like cool. But I totally get that too because it could have been shorter lived for like just this like thick. I called it a distorted C in my notes of just wild like cacophony of distortion.
Yeah.
It's like there's like this really cool resolution at like 2:45ish that happens, and then the song is 3 minutes and 18 seconds long, and like from that good like really nice satisfying resolution all the way to that point is all like that like like dissolving of parts. So
Yeah.
I can see that. I do also agree though, Brennan. It's really tough because this track is really cool, especially with the way the violin is kind of like interspliced into this track, which is also like a call to the interlude that just happened with the violin at the very end. It's a cool like connection. I don't know. I just think this track, it's cool because like it features the violin finally after not really being present a ton on the album, and it it's also like a really thick track. Like it's kind of like it's really heavy,
Yeah.
like right away, which like is like also a contrast to some of the other tracks, like how I mentioned earlier, start really light. This one starts like in this thick, fucking like heavy, distorted guitar feeling. And these guitars kind of like dance around the violin as you go through this track, and like this really cool like weaving in and out fashion. It's really gorgeous. I wouldn't hate it being at the bottom because something has to be there, and I think if we're like nitpicking, that ending is a little long with the distortion, so I can see that. It's tough.
Yeah, because I think like I'm not opposed to this being last either, just because something has to be last, you know. I do really like this song. Definitely not like, I don't think that this is like top 3 material or anything for sure. There's definitely better tracks on here. I do kind of like, though, just like the energy of this song. It's like, it's really like powerful and like aggressive, kind of like how we talked about, but it's not like, it's in more of like it's aggressive in more of like a powerful, like emotional way, rather than just like getting chuggy and with it, you know. It's like it's a vibe that you don't really get much in our line of music that we peruse, you know.
Yeah.
And I think just in general, like this album, this band in general, I think they do a really good job of just conveying like emotion really well, and conveying like the songs make you like feel things. They're kind of like themed around like, I don't want to say like they're themed around like feelings, because that's like really like underselling it. But like if you listen to the songs, it's like you can feel like that they're trying to like evoke different things in you, and it really like comes out in the music. Especially on this album, like each song I felt like was just, it wasn't just listening to them like shred white and blue on the guitar. It was like there's a lot of like thought put into how each of them were structured and the kind of things that they were trying to like get you to like feel with each song. And I think Smolder is like a good example of that, how they're like, it's more aggressive, but it still kind of channels that like powerful, like epic, emotional energy that they're kind of crafting throughout the album, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I have like the words thought provoking in like my notes a lot, like all over the place, because like I just feel like there are so many moments where like these lines that like kind of will build out of these plucky beginnings just feel like there's so much like expression in them. Like the emotions of the people playing it are like really like felt, and like almost every line of this album. It's really cool. And I definitely agree, like this one especially in the way they wrote it too, like in connection to the interlude specifically. Like the interlude is this gorgeous piano piece that just like goes all sorts of places. We'll get into it later, but it ends with like this droning like one key piano thing as like this distorted violin comes in. It's like a little more muted into this like heavily distorted, almost droning feeling that is like interweaved in the guitar part specifically in it. And it's this really cool, like, we had this like light piano piece that really like makes you like just feel into like that emotion. Like maybe like it almost feels like, you know, like you're just pushing headstrong into it. Like there's no like it's something you don't want to face. You're just fucking like all in thick. Just it might be ugly, but like there's like these cool resolution-y moments that happen even in this like thicker, more like subdued thing. It's cool. It's really fucking cool.
I got a lot of that too. Like what you're saying, like I felt like I got that exactly. Like I think the transition between the two songs, it's like it just works. Like it's very like it's a huge dynamic shift, but I think that the fact there's like callbacks to it with like some of the instrumental work and stuff, like it's really cool.
It's really smart. I think when you bring it down to like a way more smooth brain level, though, when I look at all the tracks on this album, this is the one I'm going to probably come back to the least because of like the way the distortion is like heavily present in like a top to bottom experience. Incredibly cool, and I love it. But as far as just like what one am I going to throw on randomly when I'm like scrolling through my phone, it's really not going to be this one super often. So I personally I'd vote for it to be the bottom, out of begrudgingly, because I also like I said, I mean, I just talked about how I love the way the emotion feels in this one, but I think
No.
probably it feels right to be at the bottom.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I think we can put that there for now. If we end up randomly coming across more gripes with another song, we can shift it around, but I don't see that happening. Any other songs that we want to put at the bottom half? Because technically it's just going to be a top 4 and a bottom 4. It's only 8 songs, so.
I'm personally kind of torn on the opening track of this album.
Okay.
And now, like, hear me out, because I love the track and I love these like really cool Disney vocal things that they're doing in the album, in the track, because it's gorgeous. It's really fucking cool. You've got like this, like almost like a similar level of like these unfiltered distortion-y things that we had in Smolder, just because like you're setting up this album like what we're ready to experience, and these really cool echoey, vibey vocals that are happening. That being said, the vocals kind of take the front seat here. And a lot of like these guitar parts that I think are what really make the rest of the album shine aren't as strong here because of the use of vocals. So when I'm looking at this whole like album top to bottom, part of me kind of wants to put this one lower. Even though I still think like there's like how I mentioned before that these unexpected little flips happen, even like these main lines. That really cool, I think it's like right around like 45 seconds is the first time it happens, where like the vocals just like shift up and you get like this really satisfying like choir effect around this distortion that it's a feeling I haven't gotten in a musical thing in a long time, is like the way that this song gives it to me. It is also a feeling I get throughout the rest of this album. It's really cool, it's really unique. I don't know. What do you guys think of Coronal?
Brennan, you go first.
So this is actually the song, and it's crazy. Like the first time I listened to it, instantly got Smashing Pumpkins vibes. Like,
all right,
just how like the distortion is, like how they have it set up, and like pretty much everything that happens guitar wise, I could very easily see in a Smashing Pumpkins song. So it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, it just reminded me of like going on like summer drives with my dad and like hearing like Smashing Pumpkins, and we're just like fucking doing whatever. But compared to the rest of the album, like the song doesn't have like a ton going on. Like I do love like the shift that occurs, like Kyle said, happens around like, the 45-second mark, and like it's like a totally, like just for like a few measures, it's just like a totally different like vibe for a second, and you do get like the choir effect coming in, like harmonization, and like the instruments are like kind of like taking like a darker path for a second, and then like kind of snaps back to what the song like was doing, and they do it like 2 or 3 times throughout the song, and I think it is like a nice like change of pace like in the song, because you know you're kind of going from like Smashing Pumpkins to like, you know, something like a little darker. But I don't know, I think it's a good track, but if we're having a top 4 and a bottom 4, this is gonna fall in the bottom 4 for me.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's gonna be in the bottom half. Just kind of mirroring what you guys said, like I do really like the vocal stuff in this track, and I'm glad that there was some vocal stuff in this album, because Yvette Young has a really good voice, so it's always just a nice treat when that's kind of mixed in here in any kind of way. But it does kind of take the forefront of the song, and the instrumentals aren't necessarily as crazy or complex as like a lot of the other tracks that we haven't talked about yet. So I could see how objectively this should probably be, if not next, just in the bottom half for sure. I can totally get behind that. Because again, I don't even know like what else would be beneath this. I think I think it's just the right call.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because I think it's so cool the way that like, it's honestly like, when I thought like really like was thinking about like the emotions they were conveying with this track, right? Is it really felt like you know, like there's a lot of times in this album, like even when we just talked about like Smolder and shit, there's like these cool like emotional layers to it. And with the first track on the album, it like starting out with like these really raw, like emotional, like instrumentals around these like vocals that are almost like unintelligible. That it's like the fresh start of like interpreting as you will before you get into this album full of tracks where the emotion is felt in a way where you continue to like dip your toes into like, what kind of emotion were they playing with this one? What is the meaning behind this track? The fact that it's like literally a like voices that start out being like the like, you feel this emotion in them, you can't even really tell what they're saying all the time. That like it's just a really cool like parallel to the rest of the album, and how like you kind of can like interpret these feelings however they work for you. You know, it's cool. It's really smart. I love it. I think the writing of this whole album is just so fucking cool. The band that I actually compared this to, which I mean, if you know me, is high praise, is Snarky Puppy. There are a lot of like these really cool instrumental lines that just have this fucking passion infused in them that I love from Snarky Puppy as well. So it's one of my favorite bands ever, so it's high praise. So good shit, Covet.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all that being said, I still think this first track probably should be like next, if not in the next like 2, because when you look at these other tracks, man, they do wild shit.
Oh yeah,
Wild
I
shit, so
completely agree. I think we're just gonna lock that in at 7. Do we know what we want to be 6?
I'm leaning towards interlude now a little bit more. Like this feels like a better place for it here coming up. It's tough, but like I think it's in the like maybe like 6-5 region.
I want to push for this shit to be 4. Like I want
really.
I want to push. I want this shit in the top half at least. I feel some kind of way about the interlude. It's stupid to feel that way about an interlude, but it's a really fucking good interlude. Dude, if we were doing tables right now, I would table interlude.
That's crazy. That's wild.
It is.
I'm down. Well, then, I mean, Tyler, what else would you throw out there?
Oh, I don't know. I just don't want it to be interlude.
Damn.
Yeah, I really don't know, man. Like I know what songs I don't want to be next, but like I don't know what songs I want to be next.
Oh boy.
I feel like maybe we should table some stuff. You're bored of it. In my opinion, there's like one track, not interlude. I think there's one track that's like just the best track on the album.
Do you?
I do. I don't know if I should say it yet.
I know. I'm legitimately curious to know what it is. I mean, we know we have. If we were to lock in Smolder and Corona at because now I'm like seeing it like Corona and then L, so I'm thinking of the beer. Anyways,
I think it's actually Coronel or Coronel.
Cornell University.
Cornell, go red. Go big red.
Starting linebacker, Cornell. Anyways, I'm down to table. We only have 6 left technically, so we could table.
I think now's the
time. Bitch in half.
I think now's the time. I would like you guys to go first, I guess.
Brandon, you got this. Because I need you to clear my table as well.
Fuck. I remember whenever me and Tyler first found this band, they opened for like DGD and Charles.
They opened for DGD, and I was drunk as hell, and it blew my mind.
I just remember like hearing them, and then because I mean I was drunk too, like no disrespect to Covet, but like we were just waiting for like DGD at that point. Like, you know, usually like the bands, we kind of like let them surprise us.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember like standing in the crowd and like, yeah, they're playing like some cool shit. I'm like, yeah, man, this band's pretty good. And then all of a sudden they would just hit a fucking groove. Like just like the funkiest fucking like beat, like everything like happening at once. You're just like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Like, and A track that does that for me is Love Spell.
Yes!
Like-
Yes! Yes! Thank
yeah,
you.
like it's crazy because like, I mean, not saying like I'm fatigued or anything, but like a lot of the album does like similar stuff. Like they like kind of like with how like things would be plucky and like they're taking you different places and stuff. But in Love Spell, it's around like the 3-minute mark. They just hit you with a fucking groove. It's like, whoa, all right. Like it snapped me back to like back when we were watching them live. Like first time I ever heard of this band. I just see a chick playing guitar with some dudes. Like now, like we're listening to fucking Covet. So yeah, my table's got to be a Love Spell. That's on.
Fuck yes.
I'm really
Fuck
glad I
yes.
had you go first because I was like dancing between two, and it was Love Spell and it was Bronco for me.
Okay,
so,
yeah, that was the other one I was thinking of.
Yes! Yes! And I'm tabling interlude because I
Let's
now
go!
have the power to do
I'm-
that. My
I'm
top
so
three
okay
are the
with
top
this.
three. This never happens.
I'm so okay with this. I'm so in. This is awesome. Listen, I threw interlude out on the chopping block there, but dude, if we get a fucking piano interlude in the top three, I'm stoked.
It's
in.
happening now. It's been
It's
tabled.
official. It's official now.
We are left with Firebird, Vanquish, and Merlin. I guess let's just talk about, unless there's one that jumps out to you, I think we should just kind of do what we normally do in these situations. Talk about one, talk about another, compare those two, and then talk about the third, compare that to the other placement. So, do we want to start with Firebird?
I'm down.
Sure.
I like it. Yeah.
Cool. Who would like to go first?
I nominate Kyle.
Okay.
I'm down because we've had this one for a sec. If I'm not mistaken, this was a single. And immediately first note, summertime road trip with the boys vibes. I got the like fucking rolling down Route 66 with cracking open a cold Coca-Cola on the road, hand dolphin out the window. It's nice. I love the vibe. It's just like it's very like. I get like this warm, summery, like comforting vibe the whole track. These, especially like once it shifts into like the more like this quicker guitar verse that happens after like that first main chorus around like the 42nd-ish mark, I think. You get like these really cool like quick ascending things at the ends of lines that just like visually, because like a lot of this album created these really cool like visual like I shut my eyes and like just like kind of saw these things that I was feeling in this whole album. And like if I'm like sticking to this like summertime road trip thing, like these little lines of this guitar like flicking up at the ends of these like of these different phrases are like the wind like kind of grabbing leaves, like chucking them up as you're going. Like they're these really cool like just like you can like kind of smell the air. It's really comforting. The riff out of that second chorus is fucking immaculate. I don't know. It's just like another one of those really cool groovy moments that just hits you, fucking takes you. I think my biggest thing with this whole album though is, or not the whole album, this whole track rather, Firebird, is that this track has so much going on and it achieves this level of balance that is, I feel like, so difficult to do when you're going for so much here. Actually, really great parallel to Elysian in a lot of those tracks where like they have so much going on that it's overwhelming. Here they have a lot going on, a lot of moving parts that fit together so well and always feel comforting versus this really weird, like stressful feeling that you get from some of those tracks on Elysian. No shit to Elysian. I love the album, but
no, I have, not to interrupt, but I have like the exact same thing in my notes about like most of my notes about this song. I'm like, it's just really impressive that it is so like technically impressive, but it's not overwhelming or like difficult to comprehend. It's like very digestible.
Yeah.
They're
like,
not invading Poland.
Yeah, they're not exactly. They're not like committing hate crimes with their drumming. It's like everything just works together. It's cohesive. It's like easy to take in. It's very rare. Like when we review other instrumental bands like Evan Marion or like Polyphia, and we obviously love Polyphia especially. And their stuff is very like technically impressive, very like crazy, like insanely fucking good. But like Covet, one of the reasons I like them just as a band, not even just for this song, is like they managed to have like the complex instrumentals similar to those bands, but they just package them in a way where it's like it just makes sense. Like when you listen to it, like it's impressive, but it's not like you're not trying to like break your brain to like figure out how everything is working together. It's like it's all right there and you're getting it, and it's just making you feel good vibes, and it's just a great time. And this song I think is kind of like the epitome of that on this album, where it's like it's just it's so good, you know? Like it's just it works so well. It was just so like thought out, and it just the summertime vibes and the drive and shit. I had that in my notes too. Like it's what it is, man. They're so good at like just conveying those feelings through music. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My last little thing I'll spring in there about this track that I have is like around like the 2-minute mark, you get like that pulsing guitar thing that happens, like everything kind of lets out, and you get like this kind of like reset almost, which is another really cool way to like not make it feel overwhelming. And then you get that like just kind of sprinkled in as you go, where like a lot of the guitars will strip out, and you'll get like a little tambourine beat or something, and like this really light thing going on. And then at like 325-ish, this like this heavier guitar, like not less plucky, comes through. And if I'm sticking with the like summertime driving vibe, it's like I was on the back roads, I was like kind of flying with the boys, doing what's around, but now it's time to get on the fucking highway. And you just get on there, you're just like, wow! And you just fucking you put it fucking up to 75, you're flying down the road now. You got like the thick guitar, and it's a little bit, you got like the kind of repetitive punchiness right at the end as well that kind of drives you right to the end as well. This track's just so good, man. I love it. It's super fun.
Fuck yeah. Brennan, anything to add?
No, I think you guys did it all for me. I guess what I could say is like the song, I know in like the Evan Marion release, it seemed like they were really busy with being productive, but this track like does the opposite. Like it's like all production and busyness, but like you don't feel like overburdened.
Right.
Like
yeah.
I like that. The nice it brings balance to the force.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Brennan, I'll let you tackle Merlin first, since we did all the talking for Firebird.
So I love how like they bring in some violin like towards the beginning. I'm pretty sure it's violin.
I think so.
Yeah, just kind of like in the background, like while shit's going on. But one thing I'll highlight is this track has a legit like breakdown to like end it. I remember the first time I listened to it, like it hit, and it's not like like super brutal or anything like that, but it just kind of blew my mind. Like I wasn't expecting a breakdown from Covet. They just fucking, you just hear like some chugginess, you hear a little bit of China. It's just like, ugh. Like, could you imagine a fucking pit opening up to this shit? Like, go to one of these shows, like seeing a bunch of like wimpy like scene kids, and they're just trying to like throw down. Like, that it brought me a lot of joy, and it's crazy because like the rest of the track before that is a lot like the others, and the fact that, I mean, like they bring in like violin. The song is productive. It's everywhere. It's, very well crafted. And then all of a sudden, it just like everything. They just slow everything down and like turn the guitars down a little bit and just let's just chug it out at the end. Like I thought that was phenomenal. So yeah, I like Merlin, and it was a song, like, I was singing between Love Spell and Bronco, but, like, Merlin almost had an argument to be tabled. Just because of the breakdown. The rest of the track is awesome as well.
Totally fair. That's true. I didn't even really, like, think about that. It's like, there's a fucking breakdown in a Covet song. Like, what a wild time to be alive. Kyle, what did you think about this one?
Dude, I mean, like, personally, like, very subjectively, this track, like the vibe that this one gives off, hits me in some kind of special way, like a lot, like really hard. I remember getting this one the first time, and it was one of those, because there's a couple, like mainly the ones we tabled, but I repeated it fast because there's just this really cool like introspective dance thing going on here. Like it kind of like just like you get this like swaying back and forth. of these like really cool guitar parts where like there are these little pivots in it that like kind of dance around even the main line. Like it kind of does this main guitar riff, but like constantly doing these variations on it, like really cool, especially like the ends of phrases and shit. Like you said, Brendan, the violin is like weaved in there in the background in such a really awesome, beautiful way. It kind of like contrasts like the faster moving guitar line. Then you get like the switch up like a minute and a half where like you've got like these like tappier drums with the faster guitar parallel with like these like don't and like you're just like getting like these thick chuggier things, and like it's a new like the dance has evolved. We've got like now these two newer parts that are like kind of going back and forth together, and I like all of these transitions like back and forth between these contrasting things is so seamless. It's happened so fast, you blink you'll miss it, and you're getting these like completely different feelings, and it's all in this like really effortless like swaying of like this just it feels so good, dude. I love it so much. And then I don't know, the slowdown at the very end of this track as well is just really, really well executed. Feels really good, especially in this like dancing kind of feeling. The fact that you kind of just wind down out of it especially with these chuggier bits as well. It's really satisfying. I love it so much, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I don't think there's really anything for me to add. I think we kind of touched on it all, but this is a fucking banger bop of a track. Based on our conversation, I think it's safe to assume that we're going to want this over Firebird.
Probably. Probably.
Okay.
It's tough though. These songs all do such good things in different ways, and man, it's so hard to like try to order these, dude.
Oh, I know.
This is like so good.
This is so hard to order these.
I'm cool with Merlin being over Firebird though.
I'm cool with it too, if that's what we want to do.
How do we feel about both of those compared to Vanquish?
That's a good question. Because Vanquish is also a really good track.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like Vanquish, especially like how I talked about before, how there's like this band just manages to capture like so much like raw emotion in their songs. Like I think this is just like a prime example of that. Like the way that this song is just structured, like the vibes that this song gives off the vibes are as complex and layered as the instrumentals themselves. I'll hit you with that. Like it starts off like a little bit more stripped back, but like the drums are like really intricate and kind of like driving like even from the get-go when like not all the instruments have kind of come in full force yet. Mm-hmm. So there's just like this level of energy that's like there throughout, while the instrumentals and the tone of the song kind of like shift and change around it. And it's like a really crazy hard balance to hit, I think, to like have like a constant like driving energy to a song, but like dancing around it in different ways without losing the momentum or having it like get too overwhelming. Like they just managed to kind of capture that perfectly, and it's really impressive to me. And I think that like the end of the song too, like it's built up in this like huge, powerful like climax. Just really, it's just crazy. Like it makes you feel things. The end of the song, you're just kind of wondering like, how did we get here from where we started with this track? It's phenomenal how they managed to like build the track. I think. I found it very impressive, very moving. It was a very good time. But what do you guys think about this one?
What are you feeling, Brennan?
I like it. It's a little slow for my taste compared to the rest of the record.
Fair.
I do give a lot of props to the drummer. He is the guy that, I mean, while like the rest of the instruments, like, yeah, like the song, like for me, the song, it starts off slow. You know, it has like some cool guitar stuff, but like it's very stripped back, you know. And my man is still kind of like not half-assing it at all. Like the drummer, like throughout the whole track. But even like once it gets started, like this song is more of like, it's more of like an emotional piece than it is something that like wows me. and there's nothing wrong with that. But kind of looking at Merlin and Bronco, and of course everything we've tabled, like to me, this track is just a little bit slow for me to be bringing this one like above pretty much anything else on the record.
Yeah.
And I say that because I like it. I remember same thing. Like first time I listened to it, I was like, wow, like they're really like packing emotion into this record. Especially after coming off of Bronco and then going into the interlude, I thought it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably put Merlin and Love and Firebird over this, but that in no way is this like a bad song if I like trashing this thing or whatever. It's just a little slow for my taste.
Totally fair. That is totally fair. I will say just slight tangent here, because we're talking about the drums specifically.
Yeah.
I am genuinely curious if anybody knows in the comments below, because I know the band like switched up. Like Yvette is the only one of the original members left. So I don't know if Forrest is the guy. Forrest was their original drummer. I don't know if he tracked the drums for this album before he left, or if the new drummer, Jessica Bordeaux, did the tracking for these two. Because I know she's the one that's like on tour right now doing the drums. But if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious which one of them actually tracked the drums on the album. I follow them both on Instagram because they're both hella fucking talented drummers. I just really want to know.
Just from like reading into like the social posts around the whole like pickup of the new people and like the transition of the band, from what I understand, this whole project is all the new people. But I mean, I that's just from like what I gleaned from just the way they worded a lot of stuff about the production of this album. But I could be wrong. I don't know like exactly how long, because if this was in development longer than those posts made it sound, perhaps it was like the last people on at least maybe a couple tracks. But no, I'm also really curious, because that's something I thought about a lot throughout this album, and part of the reason why I think it is so emotionally charged as well is with like I mean, Yvette had some like kind of dumped it out there on socials there for a second about like the transition of this band and like, where's this band going to go? Are we going to get to this, and they did awesome, and it's awesome. And I think the sounds that they've created are like some of their best. So, whatever they went through, it's unfortunate, but it feels like you're almost better for it. So you came out on the other side really fucking awesome. So congrats to you guys for that. As far as this track goes though, I also agree the drums fucking rip. But for me, the thing about this track and where I think it wins for me in the album overall is that it is such a phenomenal demonstration of like building and like breaking down. Like this track does it. Like you've got the words that like came to me, especially as I was listening to it, was like these like very serene echoey guitars that start off the track. There's these really incredible like cascading guitar runs that happen, especially in the front half of it, where it's a little bit more like like quieter and like calmer. You get these really awesome like around like a minute and a half, there's like this really unexpected like jump up of this echoey guitar that kind of dances a little bit more instead of it being like this almost like a simpler, thoughtful echo back and forth. That I think it starts it in this upward trajectory finally to like that 2-minute mark where like you have like the thicker guitars coming in that kind of chug at the ends of phrases that really get the song moving again, like, and get it pushing towards like its climax at like 2:53ish. But like it's so cool how this track will like have these really awesome echoey, thoughtful, like just descending, ascending guitar parts, and randomly in there you just get like the guitar like doing woo-doo-doo-doo, and it just fucking flies, and you're like, whoa, where the fuck did this come from? And then like immediately it's down to like this stripped down like mainly like drum focused thing where like it's really like tappy and light, and like, dude, like the fucking balance. I mean, we've said it a lot of times, the word balance, but the balance they find in this track is unreal. It feels so good. And I think especially, like I said, where the climax, like 2:53ish, is just, it feels so good. Like, especially with the way that they like layer it out and like balance the building to that point. You have like everything you've heard thus far all coming together in this moment, and just, it drives you to the end. And dude, especially the drums, like we talked about like before I started talking about this track. Woo, dude, it's satisfying yet makes me feel like unfinished. It was the words I felt as this track finished out. So
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's so cool what they did with this track. Fuck, I love this album.
Yeah, I know, it's so good. I want to put you in the hot seat, Kyle, because I actually want Vanquish to be over Firebird. By like the slimmest of margins, just because I really like, you know me, I like shit that builds. So like this should not be surprising. But especially the ending of that song is like really what seals it for me. Like the ultimate climax is just it's super good. So I am gonna vote for that to be over Firebird, which would put you as the tiebreaker.
This is fucking tough. I like these songs for two like completely different reasons, honestly. Like the
Same.
way that, like the one like creates this incredible like fun atmosphere that like is like calming, and this one that keeps my brain a chugging, thinking like where's it gonna go next? Where are they gonna build to? What are they gonna do? I personally gotta give those extra props to the incredible balance they reached in Vanquish. Personally,
Tight.
it is just so cool the way that they just weave in and out of like these plucky guitar things into these stripped down drum things, and then all of it comes together to just hit you with something crazy at the end. It's so cool. So I'm gonna give the edge to Vanquish.
Cool. And with that, we're on to the top 3, baby.
Woo!
So we've each tabled a thing. And in my opinion, these are the 3 best songs on the album.
Okay.
I guess we'll talk about Interlude. I feel like Interlude's probably going to be 3rd. As much as I love it, I feel like it would be kind of dumb to put it higher than 3. But I do just fucking love this track. Like, it's just the piano and the vocals and the shit's just angelic, bro. Like, I was not expecting this to be on the album, and again, because I am a huge fan of her piano EP, which is like just so fucking obscure and I don't care, just hearing like the song start with like the piano, I was just like, I'm getting more of her playing piano, and then I get her voice like mixed into it a little bit, and then there's like fucking violin at the end, and it's, I don't know, man, this shit's immaculate. It's like what I have been wanting more of for such a long time. It's a very personal, subjective thing, and I get that, but especially when the song is called Interlude too, I'm like going into it expecting it to be like, all right, this is gonna be the default bottom track, I'm not even gonna really pay attention, and I left it, and I was like, I enjoyed this far more than I probably should have. And then I went and I stopped the album, and I listened to the entire piano EP following it, and then I went back to the album and finished it out. This shit's great, man. It's fucking beautiful. And just it's great. This song is emotion on the keys. Yvette can really just fuck up the ivories. Talented lady. But it should probably be 3rd, because it's not really a Covet song per se. It's an interlude.
I love that this track is here. Like it is so phenomenal. It does such a good job of doing exactly what it's there for. Interlude. It works perfectly. As far as it compared to the other two, I think that the other 2 tracks are like two very, very high standing Covet tracks in their history. So it's kind of tough to push it any higher than this. But listen, I get chills every fucking time I listen to this shit. It's so like I thought I was feeling it when I was listening to it by myself, but now that there are people here, I feel like this feels a little bit more worthy. I'm just gonna. It felt like it needed a standing ovation. Like that shit ended,
Absolutely.
and I hit my door. Fuck. Oh god, it's all ruined. No, I just hang on one sec. Brandon, what did you think of the track while I fixed my door? Oh fuck.
Which track is this?
The interlude.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was Probably the most impactful interlude I've ever heard.
Definitely.
Like, and it's not even that like a shit ton's going on. It's just like really beautiful guitar work, or piano work rather. Really soft, like elegant vocals kind of stepping in. I thought that was a really nice touch. It's just such a powerful, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I can't see this being any higher than 3. It's amazing. It's great, but I think it cracked the top 3. That should be it.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
Yeah. I'm definitely down for that. Now that I fixed my door,
it's definitely a banger of an interlude. Not gonna lie.
Absolutely.
I fixed my door a lot faster than I thought. I just want to gush about it real fast, just for like a second. I think kind of going off what you said, Brennan, like a great piano piece is shown in the fact that it can convey such complex emotions while being one singular instrument. And this track accomplishes that. It does so much, especially in the moments where like the vocals kind of fall off, like after like the first minute or so, that just like, oh, it's so cool. Like we've got these really beautiful vocal runs coming in to like kind of contrast these really cool like light piano runs right off the bat. It's so immaculate. I love it. And then like at like the 55-second mark or so, you've got like these cool like pulsing like downward spiraling piano like lower darker pieces that like give me like this, like the word that came to mind was like tormented almost. Like it starts spiraling down and down. It gets like these like minor keys, it gets lower until finally like a minute like 25-ish, you have like this moment of just like hits a chord and it just lets go for a sec. And like everything is just like, you kind of like have this moment of like relief that from this like constant like downward spiral. And it's like I put like breath of fresh air in my notes. It feels so nice. And then it comes back in with like this cool like muted violin. And I love the use of like this droning single piano note next to it, that like it starts out where it's like repetitive and then it like she sticks on it so long that it like kind of covers itself up and creates like this like a minor tone to like the ending like push out of the track, that it is so gorgeous and so haunting at the same time. And I love it. It's so it's so simple and it's so well crafted, and it gives me chills, dude. I love it.
Fuck yeah,
but
dude.
I'll stop gushing about it.
Absolutely.
It's an interlude.
I think Bronco should be 2.
I agree.
Oh, cool.
I'm down. Yeah.
That was easy.
I'm okay.
I can be cool with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I do love Bronco though. I think that like upon my first listen through, like that Bronco was the first track that really hit me, is like, wow, this shit slaps hard. Like this is one for the ages. Immediately goes seamlessly from the last song into it, which is always a nice touch. The main riff at the beginning, slappy as all fucking hell. It touches my soul and my penis in so many ways, sexual and non. It's great. Kudos to you guys for creating that. The weird distortion shit, I think that is so cool. It's something that like in other bands attempting this, it would probably annoy me, because they probably wouldn't execute it as well. But they managed to like do it in such a good way. I don't even know how else to word it. Like it's not like too long, it's not too annoying. Like it's just there in such a way that it just adds a little zest onto the end of some of the phrases, and it's really fucking cool because like that is such a unique thing to add, just like whammo distortion on the end of shit, and it's just like it sounds like your Spotify is breaking, but it's part of the song. It's really fucking cool, and kudos to them for not fucking that up. And the song itself, just like we talk about that roller coaster, and this song really just like evolves and changes throughout it. Like when you get to like 2 minutes in, it's basically a completely different song than where you started off from, and not in a bad way. It's just like You have reached a new zone that is equally as good as the first zone. It's just a different zone. And especially at like around like the 2-minute mark too, like kind of like builds up to the end, and it's like carrying this like very like powerful driving energy, and the drums just kind of keep like building up and just going absolutely fucking bonkers by the end of it. And again, not in a way that we're, you know, invading nations and stuff. It's very like well done. It's a lot, but it's not too much. Just a fucking phenomenal track. And if Love Spell didn't exist, this could easily be number 1, in my opinion. That's my 2 cents on Bronco.
Yeah.
Who would like to talk about it next?
I tabled it, I guess. So I'll throw in my reasoning as to why it was like kind of in contention with Love Spell for me personally. First of all, mirror everything you said. So many things you said were like word for word in my notes. Like the opening just being so fucking tasty. The transition specifically being so seamless and tasty. And it's that main lick that starts out right away that like kind of dances around like these full stop drum moments that happen, especially like that first like 30 seconds or so. It's just so it's done so masterfully. It's so and then like they add in like the muted guitar strums in as well to like break it up until eventually you get like this really cool like light pulsing of bass that comes into that same thing before it shifts near like the 2-minute mark, like you said. It's this really awesome like building roller coaster feeling, like you were saying, that they add these like little things, they just like sprinkle them in there, and it just works so fucking well. And then once they get to that part at 2 minutes where like you kind of have the drum like kind of like just pulsing in, just like driving you into this final bit. They have these like huge open like swings of the beat where like the drums are pulsing and the guitar is like doo 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 doo, and it leaves so much room to sprinkle in these little like bass flourishes in the background, these really cool hi-hat things as well while he's doing these big like bassier drum hits. Like it really feels like in this track specifically that was just like, do whatever feels right, man. And they just like it's all coming out of like instinct and just like what's gonna fit here. And like that's where like in like 2:15ish, the hi-hat shit that gets sprinkled in is just so fucking tasty. I love it so much. They have like this really awesome like mirrored like guitar to drum thing that happens, like this call and response thing to the end. And it's just, man, this track is so expertly done. Woo! I love this track so much.
Absolutely.
Damn, man. Fucking Bronco.
Brandon?
It's good. Love Spell's better. There you go.
Damn.
I mean, you
Short
guys,
but true.
You guys nailed everything, but I think Love Spell does that and more.
Yeah. Well, why don't you talk about Love Spell?
Love Spell to me is like the culmination of like the entire record. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, and it's perfect. It's the final track. It kind of brings in like almost everything that you see in the rest of the record. Like, I thought I even heard some sax in there.
Oh, there was absolutely some sax.
Absolutely.
Oh, there was
Yeah.
some sax.
Bring some of that. Thought I heard a little hint of violin here and there. Like, that, and plus like just all of the instrumentals, everything, because it like tells you a story. It like gets emotional at times. You know, it switches it up. Like, kind of gives you what you want. Takes a step back. Like, the pacing of it was fantastic. And then, like I said, it's like right around the 3-minute mark, they just hit a fucking groove, and it's just like I said, it took me right back to when me and Tyler first listened to these guys live. Like, all of a sudden, like, things are happening. Boom, we're in a groove. You're just like bobbing your head, like, man, this is fucking rich. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so fucking like, just so like thick and so much depth, and I love it. Like to me, this is the perfect way to end the record. Like, if any of these other tracks were the album ender and like this was still in the album, I'd feel something was off. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but to me, it's just the coronation of Catharsis by Covet. Like this song fucking rips, and I think it's number one. Unquestionably, Bronco puts up a good fight, but Love Spell all the way. I love it.
I completely agree with every single thing that you said. Yeah. I assume Kyle agrees too, because he did not argue at all when I was like, Broncos second.
I was like, yeah. Definitely is.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
I mean, I would go as far as say is this is the word objectively, this is like one of the best album enders I've heard in a minute. Like, this is
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
To kind of like go into like the really introspective thing this whole album does, this album has like been an exploration of emotions and the way that they can be conveyed through music, and it takes you on such a fucking journey. You get to this point, and the feeling that it gives you in its satisfaction and the way that it just ties everything up and also gives you this beautiful resolution is exactly what it is like if you like face like the emotions and like the hardships in your life, and you get to the end of it, you've grown, and it's behind you, but you can reflect on it, like you were a person and now you're here, and you're better for it, much like the band. And they've been through a lot, and now they're here, and it ends with this beautiful fucking piece. Like you said, Brent, it has so many things all come together. I specifically love in the first half of this track where like everything drops out, and then all of a sudden it's like the guitar is like, and it just fucking like soars up to come back down. It's awesome. I love that. I love the sax, the way it's included in there. I think my biggest note for this one too that really gets me, I think it's like right around like 240. It like hits the grooviest fucking drum beat ever around the sax, where like the drums like go like halftime for a second, and it's just like, and I'm like, oh, we're doing it. Oh, we're getting stanky with it. Oh no, it's so good. I love it so much. This track is phenomenal. Bravo.
Yeah, I would go as far as to say Love Spell is the best Covet song ever written. That is,
I don't think you're wrong.
A thick, bold statement, but in this moment, I feel that is true. So.
Cool. A little dance beat.
You're just vibing too, like.
This isn't like a dance beat, like while like shit's going on with the guitars. I'm like, this is otherworldly, dude.
Holy shit. I want to see them live again so bad. We've done it. We made it to the end of this fantastic fucking album. We've ranked everything from worst to first. I'm going to recap, and we're going to get out of here and probably go listen to the album again. Number 8 is Smolder. Number 7 is Caramel.
Cornell.
What a great
I want to say it's
callback to a video no one
Cornell. I
watched.
could be wrong there.
Number 7 is Coronary. Number 6 is Firebird. Number 5 is Vanquish. Number 4 is Merlin. Number 3 is Interlude. Number 2 is Bronco. Number 1 is Love Spell. Thank you all so much for joining us today on this fantastic episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you leave a little like down there with the little like button, because that just helps out a ton. It makes us very happy. Please let us know in the comments below, what did you think about this album? What would you order the songs as? What was your personal favorite? Always like reading those things. If you've never heard of or listened to Covet before, I highly recommend going and checking out all of their previous stuff and just listening to anything Yvette Young has ever put out in her fucking life, because it's all incredible. One of the greatest human beings on earth. Her. If you're not subscribed to Talks A Lot Boys, what the heck are you doing? You can go down there and click subscribe right now. We're almost at 500 subs, and that's bonkers to me. So if you want to help us reach that milestone, that's not a milestone for anyone other than us, you can help us do that and make us a little bit happier. But yeah, I think that's all we got for today. So we've been the Talks A Lot Boys. We'll talk a whole lot more next time. See you later.